How do you balance the needs of different stakeholders, customers, sales, engineering, when making product decisions?
Yeah, it really is a tough one. And this is where product vision and helping everyone inside of your company understand it is key. Product vision is essentially what is mapping up to your business goals. And I'll say business and company goals a lot because for each of the teams that you have, whether you're a sales team, whether you're customer success, whether you're on the products team, you're each going to have your own team goals that are going to meant to map up and help you achieve your overarching company goals. And so you have to keep in mind with a product team and also remind other teams of what you are trying to do. So there's going to be time, and it's not just going to be, hey, we need to help keep our customers, or hey, we only need to bring in new customers. There's going to be a ratio of each of those. And so I think you have to balance it, making sure that you are creating opportunity within your product so that you can bring in new customers if that's a goal you have, and helping the sales team. Or, say the customer success team has a goal on retention of retaining customers, trying to understand how you can help them do that. So really understanding what everyone else's goals are, how it translates into your vision. And then when you're working with those other teams, understanding what their needs are and prioritizing them, but also helping them understand why other teams' needs are prioritized as it relates to what you're putting into the product, and again factoring back up to the business goals that everyone at a company is shooting for.
In fact, I was going to ask a follow-up to that. Do you ever have times where one person comes in as a stakeholder and says, we got to have this in here, and another person comes in here and says the same thing, like 4 or 5 people show up at your office and go, damn it, Lori, we have to get this in the next release, and you're like, we only have so many units of work. So how do you figure that out?
Yeah, it's tough. I joke often. It's like if I had a button in which I could just buzz it and it says why, like always asking why. And I have to preface it with, it's like, I'm about to ask you why about 5 times, but you have to understand I'm just trying to collect data to build a business case. And that's what it's really all about. Is you're trying to understand why is that so important? Is there a customer, I mentioned these different teams, but it's like, is there a sales prospect coming in that has, a huge dollar value attached to it? Kind of understanding some of that information and trying to get it from the team member that you're working with that's saying, hey, we need this, is super important, because that's going to help you weigh it against, say, for example, somebody else that's coming in for a current customer that's saying, hey, I really need this. And, you're asking yourself the question, who is this customer? How much money are they worth? Does it apply to other, customers that we already have, or sales prospects that we have, to really just say, what is the business case of one request versus the other to help you weigh them? Sometimes you'll have enough data, and then sometimes you'll just have to make the best gut decision you have based off of all of the data you have to make that decision.
So is it just you? Are you do you set up on your golden tower on your throne and you get to make these decisions, or is there a team that you collaborate with along the way?
Yeah, I definitely collaborate with my team. I have a product management team currently, and even previously, and you just got to double check, because the thing is there's data all over the place. There's customer conversations that are happening. There's, data that we already have from our customers that are captured in whether it's a suggestions portal or whatever it may be, but there's data all over the place, some qualitative, some quantitative. And so it's worth checking with your team members to be like, hey, here's my thought process. And when you get that double check, to be like, hey, yeah, I've reviewed that data too, or I also have this, data point to add to it to get that second check. Definitely a good thing to do. Sometimes some of those decisions don't need to be reviewed and it's pretty obvious. And it's just a matter of, managing the expectations of the other team that you're working with that may have the, red fiery request, fire drill, happening that they're needing.
And then have you ever had anybody who has that fire, we got to have it now, and then you got to come back to them and go, yeah, no, you don't need to have it now?
Yeah, I always say it's not a matter of saying no, it's just not now. It's typically a matter of when. I mean, that's one thing about anybody internally at your company that's customer facing. Chances are it's a solid customer request. I mean, there are some that come in that you're like, hey, our product already does that, or some other reason why we wouldn't do that. But most of the time, they're pretty solid requests, and it's just a matter of saying, okay, when can we do this? What's the need? What's the value impact for our customers? And then not only that, we talk about effort, like how much is it going to cost us to do this to really help us weigh it?
That sounds like the old, what is it? Project Triangle, where you have quality, time, and what's it? Speed are the three
Yeah.
things that are on there.
Yep.